Hey guys, this is Bart coming to you from TSC Industries in Florida. We have episode 9 of our Yamaha R3 Superbike build coming at you right here. This episode we will basically be updating you about what has been done and a couple of the future plans for the immediate future for this bike. We don't have any fancy action shots to show you. There's nothing really exciting going on with the exception of having our badass Superbike motor finalized. Yes, I said Superbike. I have a bone to pick with some of you guys out there that have been leaving comments. I'll get to that at the end. I don't want to ruin the good energy of this flow right now. So let's just quickly touch on what we've done to this engine. I know we had 2 separate episodes just about the engine build. It's a very in-depth view. Right now I'm just going to go over the things that we've done. We disassembled this thing, we measured everything, we cleaned it, and we basically blueprinted an engine that we envisioned that we should have. Inside, we put in an undercut transmission that helps to keep the bike in gear under high loads. These bikes actually have a tendency to pop out of gear for some reason, the way they are from the manufacturer. So we fixed that. We put ceramic bearings on the transmission. We blasted all of the gears and all the components that needed to be smoothed out a little bit, and we installed that in there, and that's in there now. We're gonna see how that performs. We also did a Spears Racing D10 spring that helps with better shifting. And moving forward from the transmission towards the power making components, we have a Yoyodyne slipper clutch in here. It is slightly lighter than the OEM unit, and it enables back torque disengagement so that flying into corners we won't be over revving the bike. Most of you guys that are watching this probably understand the concept. So that couples the transmission to the crankshaft. Our crankshaft has been cut down. We reduced the weight. We knife edged it slightly. As far as my understanding goes, we are the only team that has done this so far on an R3. It's typically done on bigger bikes. We'll get some results from this and share them with you guys, but we feel like this bike's gonna rev quicker and get into the power band and have a broader power band because of that. We also cut down our flywheel to half its mass. We gutted out the magnets. Now we don't have a charging system. This bike operates on a total loss configuration. There's no charging. We run down the battery, have to replace it. We've noticed that we could get 3 motor starts and 3 20-minute sessions or races before we drop below 12 volts on the battery that we use. That is well within the limits of what we want to do, being that we do charge the battery in between sessions. We're good to go there. All right, we have Carrillo rods connecting the pistons to our crankshaft. On top end, we have Spears spec high compression pistons. We still conserve the same displacement as the OEM engine. We just bumped up the compression to 13.1. In the head, we have triple angle cut into the valve seats. We've ported the head, and we have changed the camshafts. Both intake and exhaust camshafts in there have longer duration, higher lift. These are the Spears Racing spec. Up top here, we have the Spears Racing air injection system block off. On the intake side for this motor, we have bored out throttle body, so we're actually going to be flowing more air into the motor. It's not part of the motor, but it's worth noting because it works to provide more power. We're really curious to see what the output's going to be. We are about to take down the stock motor that we've put into this bike before Daytona. I'm going to replace it with this motor. You saw in the beginning I was doing some cleanup. I'm trying to make sure that this is ready to go in this weekend. We'll probably take this thing down and rebuild it with this motor in there, and then start the process of breaking it in, seating the rings, and then doing some dyno stuff. I'm really curious to see what we're gonna push out of this thing. I know the OEM setup, the way it comes, even with exhaust and everything, you're looking right around 34, 35 horsepower. Really hoping for, I don't know if this is wishful thinking, but probably likely, but we usually like to do our stuff on the same dyno, and that same dyno dynoed this configuration at about 34 horsepower. So we have a means for comparison. We'll see what happens. For now, that's pretty much in on the motor. Just wanted to talk to you guys about what a Superbike really is. If you guys think that it's just a really big displacement bike, you are incorrect. And I would like you to get educated and check out maybe CCS rules, WEAR rules, or find any AMA sanctioned race organization, read through their rules, and you'll notice that just about any displacement bike can be made into a Superbike, because it's just a term used for the trim the motorcycle's in. So for instance, on a Super Sport, you're only allowed a certain set of modifications before it's no longer legal for Super Sport. Anything beyond Super Sport is typically Superbike. Anytime you do cams, anytime you do porting of the head, any really fancy stuff like undercutting your crank and transmission and all that stuff, that really doesn't qualify you to be legal to run in the Super Sport or Super Stock series. And this is because they want to keep those series accessible by having the competitors not spending so much money to develop these crazy contraptions like we did here. This is basically a test for us. We haven't heard of too many people going the distance. Like many of you guys said in your comments, you could just buy a bigger bike, but where's the fun in that? We don't get to experiment, and I don't know. We could do this to a bigger bike, but everybody does that already. So many other companies do that. We wanted to do something fun on a little bike and see how much we could squeeze out of it. This is an experiment, and even if you don't want to go the distance of building something like this, we could probably help you out with exhaust and intake filters. We're going to have FTECU flash service pretty soon. So anything you guys need, give us a shout. We'll be happy to help you out. As you can see here, we've amassed a little bit of knowledge about the subject, and I'm really excited to see what this thing will do. But for now, I'm going to leave you with that. I'll see you next time.